The cosmic outcasts. The vast expanse of the Milky Way glittered with the light of 1,000 civilizations, a tapestry of life and technology spanning countless light years. Yet, amidst this cosmic splendor, one small blue planet hung in relative isolation, shunned by the galactic community. Earth, home to humanity, bore the dreaded label of a death world, a designation that carried with it fear, prejudice, and isolation. Captain Zora Chen stood at the viewport of the starship Resilient, her dark eyes scanning the stars that had long been beyond humanity's reach. The ship hummed with nervous energy as it approached the edge of Earth's solar system, preparing for its first venture into the wider galaxy. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from Galactic Confederation headquarters," Lieutenant Aidan O'Connor reported from his communications station, his Irish lilt tinged with apprehension. Zara nodded, her short black hair catching the light of distant stars. "Put it through, Lieutenant." The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the alien visage of High Counselor Xara, a being of shimmering energy barely contained within a humanoid form. Its voice resonated with a mixture of authority and disdain. "Terran vessel, you are approaching Confederation space. State your purpose and prepare for inspection." Zara stepped forward, her stance resolute. "This is Captain Zora Chen of the Earth ship Resilient. We come in peace and seek to establish diplomatic relations with the Galactic Confederation." A pause followed, filled with the weight of centuries of isolation. "Proceed to coordinates Alpha 97. Any deviation will be considered an act of aggression." As the transmission cut off, Zora turned to her diverse crew. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the ship's xenobiologist, nervously adjusted her glasses. Chief Engineer Mohammed Al-Fayed's dark hands danced over his console, ensuring the ship's systems were at peak performance. Security Chief Nikolai Volkov stood stoically, his cybernetic eye scanning for any potential threats. "Well, that was warm and fuzzy," Aidan quipped, breaking the tension. Zora allowed herself a small smile. "Did we expect anything else? We're the bogeymen of the galaxy, after all." As the Resilient approached the designated coordinates, the true scale of the Galactic Confederation became apparent. A massive space station loomed before them, its architecture an impossible blend of organic curves and crystalline structures. Ships of various designs swarmed around it, representing species from across the galaxy. "My God," Yuki breathed, her scientific curiosity overriding her anxiety. "The biodiversity. It's beyond anything we could have imagined." Mohammed whistleblow. "And the technology. Some of those ships don't even seem to obey our laws of physics." "Stay sharp," Nikolai growled, his organic eye narrowing. "We're not here to sightsee." As the Resilient docked, a delegation of Confederation officials boarded, their environmental suits a clear indication of their fear of human contamination. The leader, a tall, insectoid being, stepped forward. "I am Zix Vaughn, quarantine officer. Your vessel and crew will undergo decontamination before you may proceed. Be advised that any aggressive action will result in immediate termination." Zara bit back a retort, knowing that diplomacy was crucial. "We understand and will comply, Officer Zix Vaughn. We come only to open a dialogue and seek understanding." The decontamination process was thorough and humiliating. The human crew endured hours of scans, sprays, and invasive examinations. Throughout it all, Zara maintained her composure, her dark eyes never losing their determined gleam. Finally cleared, the crew of the Resilient was escorted to a large chamber within the station. Representatives from various species lined the walls, their expressions ranging from curiosity to outright hostility. High Counselor Xara materialized in the center of the room, its energy form pulsing with barely contained power. "Humans of Earth, you stand before the Galactic Confederation, a body you have long been deemed unworthy to join. Speak your piece, but know that the taint of your Deathworld origins is not easily overlooked." Zara stepped forward, her voice clear and unwavering. "Esteemed members of the Confederation, we come before you not as conquerors or threats, but as a species seeking its place among the stars. Yes, Earth is classified as a death world, but it is this very crucible that has forged us into who we are. Murmurs rippled through the assembled aliens. Zora continued, her passion evident in every word. We have survived ice ages and asteroid impacts. We've overcome plagues and our own destructive nature. Each challenge has taught us resilience, adaptability, and the strength of unity. These are qualities that we believe can benefit the Confederation as a whole. Pretty words, an avian being scoffed, its feathers ruffling. But actions speak louder. Your history is one of violence and destruction, and of creation and compassion, Zora countered. For every war, we have treaties. For every destruction, we have art that touches the soul. We seek not to apologize for our nature, but to show you its full spectrum. As the debate raged on, with various members voicing their concerns and others showing cautious interest, an alarm suddenly blared through the station. Panic erupted among the delegates as a holographic display showed a massive spatial anomaly forming near the station. Unknown entity emerging. A technician shouted, "Our defenses are ineffective." In the chaos, Zora's voice cut through the din. "Let us help. The Resilient has advanced sensors that might provide insight." For a moment, the chamber fell silent, the weight of decision heavy in the air. Then, High Counselor Zora nodded. "Proceed, human. Show us the worth of a Deathworld species." As Zora and her crew raced back to their ship, the stakes became clear. This was more than just a diplomatic mission now. It was humanity's chance to prove that being forged in the crucible of a death world had prepared them for challenges on a galactic scale. The Resilience engines hummed to life, ready to face whatever emerged from the spatial rift. Humanity's trial by fire in the cosmic arena had begun, and the galaxy watched with bated breath to see if these Deathworlders would be their doom or their salvation. The impossible challenge. The spatial anomaly loomed before the Resilient, a swirling vortex of impossible colors that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Captain Zara Chen's hands flew over the control panel, adjusting sensors to gather as much data as possible. "What are we looking at, Dr. Tanaka?" Zara asked, her voice steady despite the tension permeating the bridge. Yuki's eyes widened as she analyzed the incoming data. It's a dimensional rift, Captain. Unlike anything we've ever encountered. The energy readings are off the charts." As the crew of the Resilient worked feverishly to understand the anomaly, the Galactic Confederation's forces seemed paralyzed with indecision. Ships scattered in disarray, their advanced weapon systems proving ineffective against the unknown threat. Suddenly, a massive tendril of energy lashed out from the rift, narrowly missing the station. Zara's instincts kicked in, honed by years of surviving Earth's unpredictable disasters. "Aiden, open a channel to the station. Mohammed, prepare to modulate our shield frequency. Nikolai, be ready with evasive maneuvers." As her crew sprang into action, Zora's voice rang out across the communication channels. "This is Captain Chen. The entity appears to be reacting to energy signatures. Powering down weapons might reduce its aggression. We're going to attempt to establish a resonance pattern with its energy output." For a tense moment, silence reigned. Then, High Counselor Zora's voice crackled through the comm. "Proceed, human. We are open to your expertise." What followed was a delicate dance of science and intuition. Mohammed's fingers flew across his console, adjusting the Resilient's shield harmonics in real time. Yuki called out energy fluctuations, while Nikolai's piloting skills kept them just out of reach of the entity's strikes. Slowly but surely, the creature's attacks became less erratic. As the Resilient pulsed its shields in a complex pattern, the entity began to respond in kind. A form of communication was established. "It's working," Yuki exclaimed, her earlier trepidation replaced by scientific excitement. "The entity is calming down. I think it might be trying to communicate." Hours passed as the human crew worked tirelessly to decipher the entity's language of energy and spatial distortions. The Galactic Confederation watched in astonishment as these primitive Deathworlders achieved what their advanced civilizations could not. Finally, with a last pulse of energy, the rift began to close. The entity, now understood to be a curious explorer from another dimension, retreated peacefully. As it vanished, a final burst of energy washed over the Resilient, leaving behind a wealth of scientific data that would take years to fully comprehend. Exhausted but triumphant, Zara and her crew were summoned back to the Confederation station. The chamber that had earlier been filled with suspicion now hummed with a new energy, respect tinged with a hint of fear. High Counselor Xara's form shimmered as it addressed the assembly. The humans have proven themselves in a crisis that challenged the very foundations of our understanding. In light of this, the Galactic Confederation must reassess its stance on Earth and its inhabitants. A murmur of agreement rippled through the gathered representatives. Zara stepped forward, her posture straight despite her fatigue. "Thank you, High Counselor. We came here seeking understanding and cooperation. Today's events have shown that there is much we can learn from each other." The avian being who had earlier scoffed at humanity now ruffled its feathers in what seemed to be embarrassment. "Your actions were impressive, human. Perhaps we have been too hasty in our judgments." As the mood in the chamber shifted, an unexpected announcement cut through the discussion. A holographic display materialized in the center of the room, showing a grand arena floating in space. "Esteemed members of the Confederation," a melodious voice proclaimed, "in light of recent events, the Council of Elders has decided to move forward the Centennial Galactic Trials. For the first time in our history, we extend an invitation to the humans of Earth to participate." Gasps and exclamations filled the chamber. The Galactic Trials were legendary, a series of challenges that tested the limits of each participating species. They were as much a celebration of diversity as they were a competition, showcasing the unique strengths of civilizations across the galaxy. Zara felt the weight of countless eyes upon her. This was more than just an invitation. It was a chance for humanity to prove its worth on a galactic stage. The trials would push them to their limits, forcing them to confront challenges beyond anything Earth had prepared them for. "We accept," Zara declared, her voice ringing with determination. "Humanity will participate in the galactic trials." As soon as the words left her mouth, Zara realized the enormity of what she had done. Earth, isolated for so long, would now be thrust into a competition against species with technologies and abilities far beyond their own. The odds were stacked against them, the challenges nearly impossible. But as she looked at her crew, Yuki's eyes shining with curiosity, Mohammed's hands already itching to prepare their ship, Nicolay's stoic nod of approval, and Aiden's excited grin, Zara knew they were ready. This was what Earth had prepared them for all along. "We have much to prepare," Xara intoned. "The trials begin in one solar cycle. You may return to Earth to gather your team, and make ready. Know that the eyes of the galaxy will be upon you." As the Resilient prepared to depart, the enormity of their task began to sink in. They had a mere year to prepare for challenges they could scarcely imagine, competing against species that had been part of galactic society for millennia. Yet, as they set course for home, a sense of excitement permeated the ship. This was humanity's chance to show the galaxy what being forged on a death world truly meant. The impossible challenge lay ahead, but for a species that had survived Earth's harsh crucible, impossible was just another word for opportunity. The Resilient streaked across the stars, carrying with it the hopes of a planet and the dawning respect of a galaxy. The galactic trials awaited, and humanity was ready to show the cosmos what it meant to be a Deathworlder. Trials of fire and ice. The year of preparation passed in a blur of intense training, diplomatic negotiations, and technological advancements. Earth had been galvanized by the news of the galactic trials, with nations setting aside old rivalries to pool their resources. The best and brightest from every corner of the globe had been selected to represent humanity. As the Resilient approached the massive space station that would serve as the arena for the trials, Captain Zora Chen couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and apprehension. Her crew had expanded, now including specialists from various fields, each chosen for their unique skills and adaptability. Coming up on final approach, Aiden announced, his usual joviality tempered by the weight of their responsibility. Zara nodded, her eyes fixed on the looming structure. "Take us in nice and easy, Aiden. Let's show them that humans know how to make an entrance." As they docked, the team was greeted by a delegation of Confederation officials. The atmosphere was tense, filled with curiosity and underlying skepticism. Zara, now a familiar face, stepped forward. "Welcome, Terrans, to the 500th Centennial Galactic Trials. You stand among representatives from over 1,000 worlds. The challenges ahead will test not just your physical and mental capabilities, but the very essence of what makes your species unique." Zara straightened, her voice clear and confident. "We're honored to be here, High Counselor. Humanity is ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead." The opening ceremony was a spectacle beyond anything the humans had ever witnessed. Species of all shapes and sizes, some defying description, gathered in a grand amphitheater. Energy beings danced with silicon-based life forms, while creatures that seemed to phase in and out of reality mingled with hulking behemoths. As the Earth team was introduced, a murmur rippled through the crowd. "Deathworlders," some whispered, a mix of fear and fascination in their voices. The first trial was announced. The Crucible of Extremes. Participants would face a series of environmental challenges, each pushing the limits of survival. The arena transformed before their eyes, advanced holographic technology creating a landscape of fire and brimstone. Lava flowed freely, while toxic gases filled the air. Many species balked at the sight, their physiologies ill-suited for such extremes. But for the humans, this was familiar territory. Years of surviving on a planet with active volcanoes and industrial accidents had prepared them. Donning their advanced environmental suits, a fusion of Earth ingenuity and Confederation tech, they stepped forward. "Remember your training," Zara said to her team. "We've faced worse on Earth. This is just another day at the office." As they navigated the treacherous landscape, collecting objectives and solving puzzles, the audience watched in astonishment. The humans moved with a surety that belied their reputation as primitive newcomers. Dr. Yuki Tanaka's expertise in extreme ecosystems proved invaluable as she identified safe paths through the chaos. Mohammed's engineering skills allowed them to repurpose debris into makeshift tools. Nicolet's combat training came in handy when they encountered holographic predators designed to test their survival instincts. But it was their teamwork that truly shone. Where other species competed individually, the humans moved as one, covering each other's weaknesses and amplifying their strengths. As they completed the fire trial, standing unscathed amidst the flames, a hush fell over the arena. The humans had not just survived. They had excelled. Without pause, the landscape shifted again. The heat of flames was replaced by biting cold, a frozen wasteland stretching as far as the eye could see. Blizzards howled, and the ground cracked with sheets of ice. Many of the remaining competitors faltered, their bodies unable to cope with the rapid change in temperature. But the Earth team pressed on. "Just like that winter in Antarctica, Captain?" Aiden quipped, his breath frosting in the air. Zara grinned behind her face shield. "A bit warmer, actually. Let's show them how we do ice fishing on Earth." Their progress through the ice trial was no less impressive than their performance in the fire challenge. They built shelters, found food in the most unlikely places, and navigated treacherous ice fields with the skill of seasoned polar explorers. As the trial neared its end, only a handful of competitors remained. The humans found themselves neck and neck with a group of methane-breathing giants from a high-gravity world, and a swarm intelligence composed of billions of tiny crystalline entities. The final obstacle was a sheer ice cliff, stretching hundreds of meters high. The methane giants began to scale it with their immense strength, while the crystal swarm flowed upwards like a glittering river. Zara assessed the situation quickly. We can't match them for strength or numbers. But we have something they don't: creativity and trust in each other. Working together, the team fashioned crude ice axes and ropes from their gear. Then, in a display of skill and daring that left the audience breathless, they began to climb. Each movement was calculated, each team member supporting the others. Halfway up, disaster struck. A piece of ice broke away, sending Yuki plummeting. Without hesitation, Nikolai leaped, catching her midair and driving his ice axe into the cliff face. They dangled precariously, the wind howling around them. The audience gasped, certain this was the end for the humans. But then, something remarkable happened. Instead of continuing their climb, the rest of the team immediately shifted focus to rescuing their comrades. With a complex series of maneuvers, they managed to create a human chain, pulling Yuki and Nikolai to safety. This display of selflessness and teamwork seemed to puzzle many of the alien observers. The concept of risking victory to save a teammate was foreign to many of the individualistic or hive mind species. Despite the setback, the humans reached the summit just moments after their competitors. As they stood atop the icy peak, battered but unbowed, a cheer went up from some sections of the crowd. As the environment simulations faded away, High Counselor Sara's voice boomed across the arena. The crucible of extremes is complete. Against all odds, the humans have secured a place in the next round of trials. Zara and her team, exhausted but exhilarated, embraced each other. They had faced the fire and ice of an alien challenge and emerged stronger for it. But as they looked around at their remaining competitors, they knew that this was just the beginning. The methane giants regarded them with newfound respect, while the crystal swarm pulsed with what might have been curiosity. Other species whispered among themselves, reevaluating their assumptions about these Deathworlders. As they were led from the arena to recover and prepare for the next trial, Zara caught snippets of conversation from the alien spectators. Did you see how they moved through the fire? Their adaptability is unsettling. Perhaps we have underestimated these humans. Zara allowed herself a small smile. They had made an impact, but the real challenges were yet to come. The physical trials played to their strengths as Deathworlders. The next rounds would test their minds, their ethics, and the very core of what it meant to be human. As they reached their quarters, Zara turned to her team. Get some rest. We've shown them what our bodies can do. Tomorrow, we show them what human ingenuity and spirit are truly capable of. The team nodded, a mix of exhaustion and determination on their faces. They had passed the trials of fire and ice, but the true test of humanity's place in the galaxy was just beginning. The mind's crucible. The dawn of the second day brought with it a palpable tension. The physical trials had winnowed the field, leaving only the most adaptable and resilient competitors. As Captain Zara Chen led her team into the arena, she could feel the weight of countless alien gazes upon them. High Counselor Zara's form shimmered into view, its energy pulsing with an intensity that spoke of the challenges to come. Competitors, you have proven your physical mettle. Now we shall test the true measure of your species, the power of your minds. The arena shimmered and transformed, this time into a vast labyrinth of shimmering, translucent walls. Each section pulsed with different colors and patterns, hinting at the puzzles and challenges that lay within. The maze of cognition, Zara announced, a test of intelligence, creativity, and mental resilience. Each section presents a unique challenge. Some will test your logical reasoning, others your emotional intelligence or your ability to think in entirely new paradigms. Be warned, the very fabric of reality may shift within. Trust not just what you see, but what you understand. As the remaining teams were dispersed to different entry points, Zara gathered her crew for a final word. Remember, we're not just competing against the other species, but against our own limitations. Earth has prepared us for this, Every scientific breakthrough, every philosophical debate, every artistic expression has led us to this moment. Let's show the galaxy the power of the human mind. With a nod, they stepped into the maze. Almost immediately, the challenges began. The first chamber presented a series of complex mathematical equations that seemed to defy the laws of physics as the humans understood them. Dr. Yuki Tanaka's eyes lit up with excitement. These aren't just equations. They're a new mathematical language. Look at how the symbols interact. It's describing multidimensional space. As Yuki worked feverishly to decipher the alien mathematics, the others provided insights and suggestions, their diverse backgrounds allowing them to approach the problem from multiple angles. Slowly but surely, the puzzle began to unravel. In another section, they encountered a challenge that tested their emotional intelligence and empathy. They were presented with a series of alien scenarios and asked to mediate conflicts between species with entirely different values and perceptions of reality. Aiden, usually the jokester, showed a depth of understanding that surprised even his teammates. "It's like that time I had to explain human humor to that silicon-based life form," he mused. "You have to find the universal constants, emotions, needs, desires, and build understanding from there." As they progressed deeper into the maze, the challenges became increasingly abstract. One chamber required them to compose music using colors and gravitational waves. Another had them navigate a landscape where cause and effect were reversed. Throughout it all, the human team displayed a remarkable ability to adapt and innovate. Where pure logic failed, they relied on intuition. When faced with paradoxes, they thought laterally. Their progress was not always smooth. There were heated debates, moments of frustration, and occasional setbacks. But always, they pressed forward. Unknown to the team, their progress was being closely monitored not just by the judges, but by representatives from across the Galactic Confederation. The humans' approach to problem-solving was unlike anything they had seen before. Their cognitive flexibility is remarkable, one observer noted. They switch between analytical and creative thinking with ease. "And look at how they collaborate," another added. "Even when they disagree, they build upon each other's ideas. It's chaotic, but effective." As the human team neared the center of the maze, they encountered their most challenging obstacle yet. Before them stood what appeared to be a mirror, but instead of reflections, it showed myriad possible futures. A quantum probability field. Yuki breathed, her voice filled with awe. "It's showing us every potential outcome of our actions." The challenge was clear. They had to choose the correct path, the one that would lead not just to their success, but to the greatest benefit for all. As they stood before the shifting possibilities, each team member saw different visions. Paths to personal glory, to technological wonders, to peaceful coexistence, and to terrible wars all shimmered before them. This isn't just about winning the trial, Zara realized. It's about proving that we deserve a place in the galactic community, that we can be trusted with the power and knowledge that comes with it. The team debated fiercely, each vision offering tempting possibilities and grave warnings. In the end, it was Mohammed who provided the key insight. "We're looking at this wrong," he said quietly. "We're trying to predict the future, but that's not what humanity does best. Our strength lies in shaping the future, in facing the unknown with courage and determination." With a shared look of understanding, the team made their choice. They stepped through the mirror not into a predetermined future, but into a shimmering field of possibility. As they passed through, their combined will seem to coalesce the quantum field, creating a path that had not existed before. They emerged into the central chamber of the maze, the first team to complete the challenge. But more than that, they had done so in a way that demonstrated the unique strengths of humanity: adaptability, creativity, collaboration, and the courage to face an uncertain future. As the maze dissolved around them, they found themselves once again in the grand arena. The other competitors arrived soon after, some looking bewildered, others grudgingly impressed. High Counselor Exara approached, its energy form flickering with what might have been excitement. Humans of Earth, you have surpassed all expectations. Your performance in the maze of cognition has demonstrated a mental acuity and adaptability that is unprecedented in the history of the trials. A murmur ran through the assembled aliens. The humans had entered the trials as curiosities, potentially dangerous Deathworlders. Now, they stood as serious contenders, their abilities forcing the galactic community to reassess their preconceptions. But even as the human team basked in their success, Zara noticed undercurrents of tension. Some of the alien representatives were clustering together, speaking in hushed tones. Others regarded the humans with a new wariness. "Captain," Nikolai murmured, his cybernetic eye scanning the crowd. "I believe we may have made some of our fellow competitors uncomfortable." Zara nodded grimly. They had proven themselves, yes, but in doing so, they had also shown that humanity was a force to be reckoned with. In the complex political landscape of the Galactic Confederation, such a rapid rise would not go unchallenged. As they were led away to prepare for the final trial, Zara couldn't shake the feeling that their greatest challenge was yet to come. They had proven their physical prowess and their mental acuity. Now they would have to navigate the treacherous waters of galactic politics and prove that humanity's spirit was as mighty as its body and mind. The final trial loomed before them, a test that would challenge not just their abilities, but their very identity as a species. The fate of Earth and humanity's place in the cosmos hung in the balance. Triumph of the underdogs. The final day of the galactic trials dawned, the air thick with anticipation. The human team, led by Captain Zora Chen, stood at the threshold of history. They had surpassed all expectations, proving their worth in physical challenges and mental puzzles. But now, they faced their greatest test, one that would determine not just the outcome of the trials, but humanity's place in the galactic community. As they entered the grand arena for the last time, the atmosphere was noticeably different. Gone were the elaborate environmental simulations and mind-bending labyrinths. Instead, they found themselves in a simple circular chamber. Representatives from every competing species were present, along with a panel of judges from the most ancient and respected civilizations in the Confederation. High Counselor Exara materialized in the center, its energy form pulsing with an intensity that commanded attention. "Finalists, you stand at the precipice of greatness. You have proven your physical might and your mental acumen. Now we come to the truest measure of a species' worth, their capacity for understanding, cooperation, and growth." The chamber hummed as a holographic display sprang to life, showing a planet racked by disaster. Storms ravaged the lands, volcanoes spewed ash into the skies, and the very crust of the planet seemed to be tearing itself apart. "Behold harmony, a world on the brink of destruction," Exara continued. "Once home to a thriving civilization, it now faces extinction. Your final challenge is this: work together to save harmony and its people. But be warned, this is no simulation. Your actions here will have real consequences for billions of lives." A shock ran through the assembled competitors. This was unprecedented. Never before had the trials involved such high stakes. Zara felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. This wasn't just about proving humanity's worth anymore. It was about living up to the very ideals they claimed to represent. As the teams were given access to data about harmony and its crisis, it quickly became apparent that no single species had all the knowledge or capabilities needed to save the planet. The methane giants had the strength to move tectonic plates, but lacked the fine control needed for delicate operations. The crystal swarm could process vast amounts of data, but struggled with creative problem-solving. Other species brought unique perspectives and abilities, each essential but insufficient on its own. Zara gathered her team. "This is it," she said, her voice low but intense. "Everything we've faced on Earth and here has prepared us for this moment. We don't have the most advanced technology or the most exotic abilities, but we have something just as valuable: the human experience of unity and diversity. With that, the humans did something unexpected. They reached out to the other teams, proposing a collaborative effort. At first, they were met with skepticism and suspicion. The galactic trials had always been about competition, about proving the superiority of one species. "We're stronger together," Zora argued, addressing the assembled aliens. "Each of us brings something unique to the table. If we can put aside our differences and work as one, we can save harmony." Slowly, reluctantly, the other teams began to engage. The humans took on the role of coordinators, their generalist knowledge allowing them to see connections and possibilities that specialists missed. They created a framework for cooperation, assigning tasks based on each species' strengths. Dr. Yuki Tanaka worked with the crystal swarm to analyze planetary data and predict disaster patterns. Mohammed collaborated with the methane giants, designing a way to stabilize Harmony's crust. Nikolai and Aiden coordinated with other teams to organize evacuation efforts and set up emergency shelters. As they worked, something remarkable began to happen. The barriers between species started to break down. Ideas flowed freely, each insight building upon the last. The humans' ability to think laterally and adapt quickly proved invaluable, allowing them to bridge gaps in understanding and find unconventional solutions. Hours passed in a blur of activity. There were setbacks and disagreements, moments when it seemed like all was lost. But each time, the humans rallied the group, their determination inspiring others to push beyond their limits. As the deadline approached, their efforts began to bear fruit. Harmony's tectonic activity stabilized, its atmosphere cleared, and its people were brought to safety. It wasn't a perfect solution. The planet would take years to fully recover, but they had averted catastrophe and given Harmony a future. As the last evacuees were brought to safety, a hush fell over the arena. The combined teams stood together, exhausted but united in a way that had never been seen before in the history of the Confederation. High Counselor Exara approached, its energy form shimmering with what could only be described as awe. "In all the long history of the galactic trials, we have never seen such a display of cooperation and mutual understanding. You were brought here to compete, to prove the worth of your individual species. Instead, you have shown us the power of unity in diversity." The counselor turned to the human team. "Humans of Earth, you came to us as outsiders, bearing the label of Deathworlders. You have proven that term to be not a mark of danger, but a badge of incredible resilience and adaptability. More than that, you have demonstrated a unique ability to bring out the best in others, to find common ground where none seemed to exist." A wave of energy pulsed through the chamber, and suddenly, the arena was filled with holographic representations of worlds throughout the Confederation. Billions of alien faces watched in rapt attention. "It is the decision of the Galactic Confederation," Sarah announced, its voice echoing across the stars, "that Earth and humanity be granted full membership, effective immediately. Furthermore, we extend an invitation for humanity to lead a new initiative, the Galactic Cooperation and Exchange Program. Your unique perspectives and abilities make you ideally suited to help us forge a more united and understanding interstellar community." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of alien cheers and expressions of approval. The other competitors, now comrades, surrounded the human team, expressing their newfound respect and friendship in myriad alien ways. Zara stood in the midst of it all, tears in her eyes as the full impact of what they had achieved washed over her. They had come to the stars seeking acceptance and found not just a place for humanity, but a chance to shape the very future of the galaxy. As the celebration continued, Zora's gaze met those of her teammates. In their eyes, she saw reflected the same mix of exhaustion, pride, and wonder that she felt. They had done it. Against all odds, they had shown the galaxy the true strength of humanity, not just their ability to survive, but their power to unite, to empathize, and to inspire. The journey ahead would not be easy. There would be challenges to face, prejudices to overcome, and a galaxy of wonders to explore. But as Zara looked out at the sea of alien faces, now looking to humanity with hope and expectation, she knew one thing for certain: the age of human isolation was over. Earth, once a lonely blue marble in the cosmic ocean, now stood at the dawn of a new era. An era where the indomitable spirit forged in the crucible of their death world would help shape a brighter future for all species. As the stars twinkled in the holographic display, Zara smiled. The greatest adventure in human history was just beginning.